Well, Azul also wants this too. How many top 16 finishes has he had at regional championships?
That's true.
Of course, he wins all the ICs, which is good for him.
I was about to say, OCIC just taken down.
You still want to win regionals. Come on.
That's very true. That is very true, and that's what both of these players are aiming to do.
That is not okay. Radiant Greninja, along with the Hisuian Heavy Ball in the prize cards, that's going to mean it's going to be a little trickier to get through the deck early on and also threaten that Moonlight Shuriken, which we occasionally see in this matchup. On Caleb's side, not as difficult. Could maybe find those cards at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are our prize cards for our players. Of course, I want you all to buckle in because this is going to be a grind. Not only is it, the exact 60-card mirror, but it's a Lost Box deck too. And I think every single Lost Box we have featured has always gone to time. So this is going to be a long match, I think, Kyle. But we're kicking it off here. Our Masters top 4, Caleb Gedemer versus Azul, Garcia, Griego. Let's get into this. Nest ball straight off the bat, going into the Lost Zone off of that first flower selecting on the Comfey.
Yep, anytime you see that, probably means you found something good. And sure enough, it was Battle VIP Pass. So
even better.
Azul now just going to determine how many of these cards he wants to use earlier on to get these Pokemon into play, and then also have those resources to maybe draw into some of the right mixes of cards. And he's going to get the bad news here that he doesn't have Radiant Greninja to help out.
Unfortunately, of course, also moving all of these energy to the front as well. The biggest thing about these Lost Box decks is keeping track of your resources. Unfortunately for you, Kyle, it's going to be even harder for you to keep track of these resources as the
I'm ready to sweat, okay?
You're getting put to work here in this
Not only am I doing it for one side, I have to do it for both sides. Make sure I know all the resources on board.
Bring out your notepad, indeed. So yeah, of course, keeping track of all of these energy, because as we've seen time and time again with these Lost Box decks, that Kyogre has been pulling weight all weekend, and that is just one piece of these, where you need to put your energy in this deck. So we're going through the deck right now for Azul, keeping track of resources as well as going in with that Battle VIP Pass to get 2 basic Pokemon out on the bench.
Azul gonna take into consideration which Pokemon are going to help out in this situation. Manaphy is great to avoid that Radiant Greninja on the other side, taking some additional knockouts. You don't want to leave 2 Comfeys getting knocked out or whatever it may be, giving your opponent that early prize advantage. Late game, it's nice for that Kyogre, but generally we see that Sableye by then.
Yep, that is very true. Once the Lost Zone starts stacking up, so far we have 1, but a lot of Pokemon out on the field here for Azul. Did you get a look at the rest of the hand, Kyle?
I mean, it's pretty large. She hasn't really had to do too much so far. It's going to be all about extending the Lost Zone count at this stage. That's why we see the 3 Comfeys chosen in this early spot. And sure enough, we see the energy to retreat along with the switch card in hand too. So 3 cards in the Lost Zone likely leads to Colress plus 2 more for that 7 on turn 2.
Getting it done, indeed. That's definitely where you want to be. Switch card here into the next flower selecting. Now it's going to be 3 cards into Lost Zone. One of those Mirage Gate here. I didn't see what was chosen in lieu of that, but looks like just, maybe it passed.
After Hartford, I just don't trust anything anymore. So yeah, that is going to be the pass of the turn. Also, cool to see there with the Raikou V that's put into the Lost Zone. You don't have to worry about that for Echoing Horn, which could be something that occasionally gets played in the mix. So that's a great place to put it.
Absolutely, that definitely is. So you were talking about some interesting plays that might happen, Kyle, that might pop up. Is there anything you might see or that we might see here that maybe we don't usually see from these players?
Yeah, always pay attention to the bench space for both these players. It's going to be something to watch out for. If you overcommit, play too many Pokemon down, and you don't have a Pokemon like that Sableye, this is something that John Eng talks about a lot.
Yes.
You're just going to give away the match for free. You can just continue to place damage counters with your own Sableye in this matchup. Never take the knockout and then go for the full 6 prize swing. So both these players definitely going to be aware of that, trying to avoid overbenching in situations and try to make sure that you're never giving away those additional prize cards.
Absolutely. You even saw Caleb throw his own Raikou V into the Lost Zone as well. Dual Raikous.
So clutch. They definitely calculated.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. And then also just taking a look through the deck here as well, keeping track of all of these resources, such an important aspect of this deck. Let's take a look at the hand here for Caleb.
Yeah, plenty of energies in there, but maybe going to be a little more difficult to find the Pokemon. I'm not sure if we saw the Battle VIP pass in this hand, but We'll see. It looks like one more nest ball potentially, so maybe he has to get a little lucky with the Comfeys or potentially finds that Radiant Greninja here and starts to draw into some more cards with concealed cards.
Yeah, which is nice. Something Azul unfortunately does not have and will not have because there's no Hisuian Heavy Ball either. So this is the Radiant Greninja over here on Caleb's side. Not only good for that draw support, but also that Moonlight Shuriken. Of course, Manaphy's already out on Azul's side, which is pretty great, but still, I'm sure Azul would like to have his own Radiant Greninja.
That is one interesting thing to note as we do see the Battle VIP pass picked up there from the concealed cards, is that in a match like this, when you know your opponent so well, you start to wonder why they didn't go for a card like that. Like, do you have a secret plan in this matchup? You just don't go for Radiant Greninja? Is that the new spice? Or are you just really unlucky and you prize the Hisuian Heavy Ball and the Greninja?
Yeah, you're like trying to decide if it's mind games or bad prize cards. I feel like they would just assume bad prize cards,
We've talked about this. What are you doing?
Azul, what are you doing? What's happening here? But now we're going to see that Battle VIP pass, of course, that Caleb got off of that concealed cards, which is great to bring out some more Pokemon and establish the board state here on Caleb's side of things.
Yeah, you can see prioritizing getting the Cramorant down in this situation. Understands that if you're able to take that early prize card, you can get yourself in a solid spot. And the Manaphy instead of the Comfey is interesting. It probably means that, yeah, we're going to see that Dragonite come down there with the Forest Sealstone to help out getting these additional cards into the Lost Zone.
Yep, very nice. Of course, Forest Sealstone can only go on a V Pokemon because it's a V-Star power, and that's going to be flipped here to draw any card out of the deck here for Caleb.
Mystery card.
Mystery.
It's almost always like players going for Colress Experiment. Just assume.
If you haven't seen the Colress Experiment already played, and even if it has been, it's probably going to be that anyway.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's not exactly what you want to see, but
that's a lot of energy.
Yeah, at least now having the water energies in hand, they're the best energy to have. That's usually the energy attachment that you want to have for Pokemon like the Radiant Greninja, of course the Dragonite V, and if you're discarding those with concealed cards, you can always get them right back into the deck with Recycler.
Yep, absolutely. You still have to make those energy attachments matter as far as matching them to the card here, and water is definitely one that we have for our attackers. Of course, Cramorant is able to attack for free here for that Lost Provisions, as long as there's 4 cards into the Lost Zone, which we easily get here thanks to that Lost Vacuum.
That
discarding
is
a card
the clunkiest way to get 5 cards into the Lost Zone.
Yeah, that was
but
a bit
it works.
awkward, huh?
Yep, with one single flower selecting, 5 cards are in the Lost Zone. And Caleb's going to reward him with a little drink.
Yeah, exactly. A little drink of water there, and there we go. Lost Provisions is in effect here, that ability on the Cramorant, allowing for 110 damage for free with that Spit Innocently to knock out a Comfey there. Take a prize card. First blood, I suppose, for Caleb Gedemer, and we're over onto Azul's side of the field.
Wow. Yeah, and sure enough, Azul's going to do it the old-fashioned way. Just has the Colress Experiment ready to go. Finds some interesting choices there. The Pokestop, which in this matchup can be tricky. You don't want to allow your opponent to have those additional resources, but if you feel like you can get the advantage, you can play that card too. And yeah, clearly, is a little worried about the fact that Caleb's taking the first prize card.
Little bits there. This is definitely a prize race indeed. That Colress's Experiment being played, so now there's 5 cards into the Lost Zone here for Azul. Going off of our first flower selecting, looks like a tough decision. What are they? Escape rope?
It's the rope and the Mirage. So you start to wonder how many energies you can get into play in this matchup. When you start to throw away the Mirage Gates, it likely means that you're going to lead towards a Sableye-focused game. And that makes sense where Azul is right now. With 6 cards in the Lost Zone, easily could see 10 cards there on turn 3 and could start to spread damage like crazy.
Yeah, most definitely. That's where we're aiming to get. That 10 cards in the Lost Zone is the goal here. Going to be an escape rope from Azul. Caleb has to choose first who to promote into the active position, and then Azul will promote as well. Of course, we're just going to throw up that next Comfey and get into another flower selecting here, but Caleb taking a bit there to make that decision.
Yeah, Dragonite's already a liability because of the additional prize cards that's going to be giving up, but it's not likely to be knocked out this turn. It'd have to be a commitment from Azul playing his own Dragonite V, and that's going to be a risk as well, as you could easily see those 2 prize cards just exchanged, and then Caleb's right back on top.
Right back on top. That's where you want to be, huh, Kyle?
I would assume so. Usually means you're winning.
Yeah, that is very true. All right, here
Wow.
we go. Oh, no, another Mirage Gate potentially. What was that, the Echoing Horn?
The other one's the Echoing Horn.
Oh, gosh. Brutal. 2 Mirage Gates in the
Well,
Lost Zone here for Azul. Just when things couldn't get any worse. And now the Pokestop is in play. We're going to roll here. We need item cards. Oh, my gosh.
those
That
don't
is
count.
not good. Yeah, tool cards are not item cards anymore. Unfortunately here, that is rough. 3 cards going into the discard pile. Just unfortunate roll on that Pokestop. Guess we're not Pokemon Go gamers here.
No, that's over on the other stage. They're probably done by now.
Yeah, they've been done for a long time. But yes, it's crazy too because I feel like every time Caleb uses the Pokestop, it's just a draw 3, like every time. And then Azul, unfortunately, hits no cards on that.
This
which
is unreal. Look at
absolutely unreal.
Look at the board state now. As Azul, yes, he got to 7, but at what cost? Well, the answer is 3 Mirage Gate. So can't even take advantage of the fact that he got to 7. Caleb on the other side is really just looking to extend how many cards he can get in the Lost Zone, and that is going to lead to 7 of his own.
What did it take, Kyle? Everything. Everything here. That is so unfortunate. Just some unlucky draws for Azul. All right. Over on Caleb Gedemer's side here, looks like Concealed Cards has already been used. We're stacking up these cards into the Lost Zone.
Yep, switch card.
Yep,
and Comfey is going to get
cards.
rolling there. So now you start to consider, is there any possibility to get to 10 at this stage? It's asking so much of your deck at this point, and I think with the Lost Vacuum that we've already seen, you can't go that route. So potentially could just see the Cramorant take a knockout in a situation like this, continue to build up on that prize advantage, and you're going to have that Sableye ready to go next turn. It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty good place to be, especially when Azul is struggling so much to get a board established here. Just going to be the retreat into that Cram. That's exactly what we're going to be seeing. I believe it's 7 in the Lost Zone now, I think, for Caleb?
Yes.
Yeah, 7 in the Lost Zone. Cram is now in the active position. Of course, able to use that Spit innocently, take another prize card. But let's see if there's any other cards played first. 7 in the Lost Zone means Mirage Gate is online, so just going to utilize that here. Has to be 2 different types of energy attached.
Yeah, I really like seeing this here from Caleb. It honestly doesn't matter where exactly you're going to go with the energies. Radiant Greninja or the Dragonite V are going to be solid threats, but it's more about just getting these cards out of the deck so you have the best potential to draw into a card like that Colress Experiment to get you over the top to the 10th card on the Lost Zone next turn.
Yeah, you want to start thinning things down to be getting what you need to get in the future turns, for sure. Manual attachment here onto that Comfey, that Psychic Energy over there. Helps pivot out in the future turns, for sure, and that's just going to be the knock here. Caleb Gedemer going down to 4 prize cards left to take here. There's a flash, quick flash of our prize cards, and Azul still struggling here. Let's see what can happen with this turn. Such a huge hand, but it has just been so awkward thus far this game.
When they name a Pokemon after you, it's usually pretty good. Sableye, for me, is clutch, and it's definitely time to shine. As we see 7 cards there in the Lost Zone, the Colress Experiment can easily bump that up, and with this flower selecting, we'll get to 10. And Azul's going to have to work some magic at this stage. Yes, we see the Dragonite V, but there's no way to bring other Pokemon into the active spot in this deck. We don't see Boss's Orders, so you're always going to be dealing with whatever threats in the active or spreading those damage counters.
All right, so Nestball bringing out the Dragonite V here for Azul. I can't tell if it's played down or if it was just brought out, because it looks like it's on the bench now.
I always try to avoid putting it onto the bench if I haven't made that decision myself.
You like put it next to your deck first.
I don't think we're going to get rule sharked in this spot, though.
No. Yeah, absolutely. All right, here we go. It is going to be on the bench, though, into a Colress's Experiment now. We're going to be looking at 5 cards here. 2 of them go into the Lost Zone, 3 into Azul's hand. Colress's Experiment found off of the Colress. See a Nest Ball, another Water Energy, Switch Card, and an Escape Rope.
Yep, plenty of resources to easily get to the Sableye at this point. You really don't need anything to add to it. So you're thinking about the next turn. Cards like that Clara would be nice to find, along with another Sableye. You're really going to just be piecing those together so that you can kind of chain those and takes a lot of big knockouts together, hopefully get in a situation where your opponent can't find a way to bring a Manaphy back, and maybe that's how you start to pull ahead in the prize race.
Yeah, I feel like every time you're playing Lost Box, you're thinking like 20 turns ahead, honestly. Yeah. That is what's going on here. All right, so how many do we have here? I believe that's 10 now in the Lost Zone.
Yep,
well, now it's definitely 10, huh?
That's the 10th.
There we go. 10 cards in the Lost Zone here for Azul. Sableye is coming out here with that Psychic Energy already attached to it here for a turn. And we're going to get that easy, quick retreat here off that Comfey. We're ready to start mining out here, Kyle.
All right.
For some gems.
I'm a fan. Now, at this point, considering taking knockouts can be a little tricky. You can either put the pressure on Caleb right now to have answers like that Clara, and then he's not able to advance the hand size and thin out the deck with the Colress Experiment. You can target the Manaphy, or you can just continue to build the pressure and stack a bunch of damage on Pokemon like that Radiant Greninja, maybe a little bit on the Manaphy, and then start to target that next turn. Well,
let's see what route Azul's going to choose to go. 12 damage counters we have here to play with.
Yeah, occasionally you see issues with switch cart in situations like this, so taking a guaranteed knockout can be a solid choice there. And yeah, the least amount of damage that you spread means that you're likely to not run into issues with that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's going to be a prize card here for Azul, a single prize card taken off of that Manaphy. And now we're back over to Caleb Gedemer's side. Manaphy off the field currently. We're going to start off with his concealed cards, drawing into an additional 2 cards into the hand. Pretty decent sized hand here. Plenty of resources on Caleb's side of the field currently. Still at 7 in the Lost Zone as of now.
Yep, the one big piece that's missing is that Colress Experiment right here. Oof. So going to use the escape rope, try to work in that Comfey, and it's going to have to be a pretty solid flower selected.
Pretty solid indeed. Yep. We still have this Pokestop is still in play, right, Kyle?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That would be rough.
I don't really like that card right now because it throws away Colress Experiments.
Yeah, it doesn't bring them to your hand.
I've seen that far too often.
Yes, that is so unfortunate when that happens. Let's see these 2 cards.
Ooh,
was that the Sableye?
Yes, so added the Sableye. Going to lose out on the Lightning Energy.
Yep, that's now a Water and a Lightning Energy in the Lost Zone, never to be retrieved again, but Sableye to the hand. Still no Colress's Experiment. Caleb's going to take a quick look at Azul's discard pile.
The only way to get to 10 in the Lost Zone without the Colress Experiment is going to have to be all these Comfeys, but that means you don't have any bench space, and you can't even work the Sableye in. So
that's true.
It's not a sacrifice you can make. You can always grab this one more Comfey and try to find the Colress Experiment.
One more try.
Yeah, and we see it looks like 2 more of them in there. So
they were clumped together.
Well, don't tell Azul.
Yeah, don't tell Azul that. Oh, no. All right, so we have that Comfey joining the field off of a nest ball here. Are we going to get one more chance here for Caleb Gedemer? Plenty of switching cards to be able to get into that Comfey.
This is actually kind of curious, too, if you want to manually retreat or if you want to actually cash in on healing this Pokemon.
Yeah, that is true. Get some damage counters off or just hard retreat, but it looks like it's going to be the hard retreat here. Discarding that Psychic Energy into the discard pile, getting that Comfey into the active. Let's see if we can find it.
Oh, with the escape rope. Yeah. All right, are we not seeing the 10th one? is it hidden? Because
I don't know.
I'm seeing cards floated to the top
3,
there.
6, 7, 8. I know. I wish they just did the dice again for us, so it made it a bit easier. Because Sableye is going to come down here now with that Psychic Energy attached. Guess we can clarify how many cards are in the Lost Zone here. It is a bit off the table. We're going to see the switch cart here now for the switching effect.
Yeah, honestly, this might just be playing this Pokemon down and working in the Cramorant, but Sableye's coming up.
Yeah.
All right, Lost Zone, I guess you are at 10. Thanks a lot.
Lost Zone, I guess, yes. Yeah,
who's getting fired?
It's at 10. Who's on that counter out there? We have the Lost Zone at 10 here. Caleb Gedemer has taken a knockout here now, going down to only 3 prize cards left.
I will find you.
Kyle. You're making Kyle's job harder out here. Even harder.
I've already got to keep track of 2 Lost Zone decks. Go on.
All right, here we go. On to Azul's turn. Here we have the Dragonite V in the active position. A couple damage counters out on the field now from that Sableye. Of course, Pokemon have been wiped as well off the field.
And this is just Sablezard with no Zard at this stage. We got to get the Psychic energies back into the deck and continue to try to work in multiple Sableye at this stage. You have one last opportunity with the Mirage Gate if you wanted to attack with the Dragonite V, but it doesn't really seem like the go-getter we're looking for.
Yeah, I don't think so, Kyle, unfortunately. Azul has just kind of had really awkward turns this whole time. But, I mean, at least has a Colress.
Hey, Caleb wants one of those.
Yeah, I was about to say something Caleb does not have.
Oh, boy.
What the?
Well, that's what would have happened with the Mirage Gate.
Oh, my God, another one. Wow, that's wild. 4 energy here for Azul off of that Colress. This is wild.
It basically guarantees that Kyogre is a non-issue at this point. 4 energies in the Lost Zone if you try to hold on to that switch card.
It's so bad though. There's so much in the Lost Zone that you do not want to have in the Lost Zone there. This is really unfortunate, but it looks like it's going to be the lightning energy and the switch card is going to be what goes into the Lost Zone here. So changing things up here for Azul, or kind of seeing what strategy he's going to be going with. That escape rope being played now.
It's going to keep the dreams alive for the Kyogre at some point. That's last final Mirage Gate and
I was about to say,
energies potentially.
You're down so many Mirage Gate. Like, what do you do?
You get one shot.
All right, we do have the switch card here that's going to heal those damage counters that were on the Manaphy. Another Flower selecting an energy recycler going into the Lost Zone. Sableye going to come back down here.
Yeah, and found the Clara there as well. So if you want to get multiple uses out of the Sableye, going to be in a great spot to do just that.
Yeah,
and,
that's beautiful.
I mean, it lines up fairly well. You'll be able to...
oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Are you serious?
Goodbye.
Wow.
Now you know where your Psychic energy is. And this was pretty clutch, too. Removing all the damage from both these Pokemon means that Sableye no longer takes a double knockout at this stage. And Caleb was really banking on that, would have been able to line up to just get to one single prize remaining, and easily any Pokemon on his side of the board would be able to handle that. So really well played there.
Denying that double prize card for Caleb. That's what Azul needed to do, and that's what happened there. Had to lose some important cards there. Colress and a Psychic energy going into the discard there, but we're going to see another prize card here for Azul. Taken 3 left to take home this game. Now we're over on Caleb's side. The field, Dragonite V in the active spot here. Finally, we got a Colress here.
Yeah.
I was like, was that the top deck? Or?
We're getting there. And yeah, the one key piece that we've seen for Caleb is the Manaphy is not there. If you're going to try to protect against the Kyogre at the very then you'd like to have that option.
Yep, Manaphy was wiped off the field a little bit earlier in this game for Caleb. We're going to see this escape rope Comfey coming up for Azul into Caleb's own Flower selecting Comfey here.
Going to take one out of the book there with the switch cart after likely Flower selecting. And that's going to be great to avoid giving up the double knockout on that side of the board, as I think they know what they're doing.
I think so, too. This definitely seems like a mirror match for sure. Mirage Gate going to go into the Lost Zone here, but it was 2 Mirage Gates, so not much of a choice there for Caleb. Just deciding where to go from here.
Can't stress enough how important it is that Azul was able to find that Clara on the previous turn. It leads to so many answers to whatever Caleb may do here. If he brings down their own Sableye, then you can either target that Sableye or the Manaphy. You can bring that Pokemon right back up. You could even find the Kyogre if you want and try to line up that as a closing knockout. So a lot of great options there because of that.
Clara coming in clutch. All right, we're going to see that energy recycler here from Caleb Gedemer. Shuffling, it was up to 5 energy. I don't know if that was 5. I believe it was. Shuffled back in to the deck here from Caleb. I just think we're waiting for the shuffle.
Yeah, it might be a Mirage Gate potentially.
Oh yeah, yeah, because there's one in hand from the flower selecting. You are correct, but it's going to be a Nest Ball first.
Yeah, just 4 energies that were played back into the deck, and I'm not terribly concerned about Kyogre shenanigans on this side, so
yes,
just go ahead and get those energies accelerated. And you're going to be threatening the game-closing knockouts with that Radiant Greninja after you knock out the Manaphy here with the Sableye. So go ahead and put that pressure on Azul to find the Clara. We know it's already in the hand, but this is just how you got to play the game.
Yeah, you want to just set up a checkmate position, really for both players here, but that's what Caleb is doing right now. We have this Colress's Experiment here, so we're going to look at these 5 cards, decide what to throw away. Going to be a Colress and a Battle VIP pass.
I'm glad they're not using the same sleeves.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
getting worried with how big the
they're
piles are getting.
merging together. They're stacking them up here. Of course, both of these players are already at 10, which is our key number. So not much point in keeping track after that. Sableye has been turned on both sides of the field. Sableye coming up here for Caleb Gedemer, and we're going to see another Lost Mine. It is just Sableye versus Sableye, back and forth here, swinging all of these damage counters onto the field. Of course, we were watching these damage counters melt off earlier here from these players' switch carts, but now we finally have that Manaphy taken off of Azul's side of the field, which is opening up the bench to be very vulnerable at this state in time. And of course, that prize card, Caleb going down to only 2 prize cards left to take. Let's see what Azul does with this turn. What are you thinking is going to happen here, Kyle?
Yeah, the damage placement was pretty crucial there, as this leads to issues where a switch card needs to be played, but you'd likely have to use it on the Sableye to heal off maximum damage and avoid a Sableye dealing 12 damage counters and exactly knocking out those 2 Pokemon. Might also have to be considering the Echoing Horn potentially, as that's another way to bring down another Pokemon that could be knocked out in this mix. So a lot of answers Azul needs to find here. It's going to start things off with the 4 Sealstone, looking at 5 whole cards.
5 whole cards. It's always wild when they just pick up their entire deck and just see every single card in it.
Oh, I'm just considering scooping.
That's where you go. All right.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I think that's just seeing what the outcome of this would be, unfortunately, for Azul. And honestly, the luck was just not on Azul's side this entire game. From the prize cards to the very ending of that game, things were just unfortunate all the way through for Azul. But sometimes that's just how things happen. Caleb was first to the jump on the prize cards, had just so much better of an established board state that whole game. But still, Azul fought back pretty heavily throughout that game.
Yeah, just the fact that Caleb was able to work in that Sableye and keep that Manaphy around, but then when it did fall, Azul didn't have any answers to deal with that. If he had the Radiant Greninja, could have been dealing multiple knockouts per turn and putting a lot of pressure back on Caleb, but Caleb kind of had the read. As soon as you see that your opponent doesn't go Radiant Greninja and Hisuian Heavy Ball's nowhere to be found, you don't have to worry about that. You can focus on your threats instead, and because you took the first prize card, you know you're always going to have that little bit of an advantage.
Yep, I'm sure they're joking with each other. Maybe getting some jokes in here on the field. I wonder if Azul kind of cursed himself, because after he won his last match in top 8, he was like, whatever, I'm probably just going to lose in top 4, is what he said. So
he wasted his 2-0 already.
Wasted it, who knows. But yeah, of course, these players are both friends. I'm sure happy to be here. Unfortunately, would have loved to have to not go through your teammates until maybe the finals.
I mean, it's just reassuring that your teammates are the right teammates.
That's true, yeah.
You might have the right squad.
3 of your teammates are in top 8. It seems like a pretty solid team for me, that's sure. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of Battle VIP pass.
Well, Azul can definitely work with that. That's not too bad there, but yeah, for Caleb, that might mean that his hand stinks, and I've got news. His hand stinks.
Oh no!
He's got the Radiant Greninja and he's got the Comfey, but after that, if he doesn't find the right draws here off the top 4, he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Oh my gosh, that was the Radiant Greninja first. Oh, the Colress. Let's go.
And the Pokestop as well.
That's nice.
If this is able to find the Battle VIP pass, then this turned into a great hand.
Yeah, that actually would be wild. Here we go. It's just going to be an energy recycle put into the lost zone here. That's our first card there. Ooh, they're doing the dice this time.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Let's go. All right, so let's get through this turn here. This is the first turn here for Caleb.
Yeah, and you can see how important it is to get 2 cards into the lost zone on this opener. Ideally 3 like Azul showed us, but if you can get at least 2, then there's a potential there. So anything that can search out a Pokemon. Nope.
Nope, no Pokemon so far here, just the Sableye in hands.
And
the Kyogre. Ooh, it's Joker.
You just wait. I'm going to get you.
All right. Yeah, way later in the game, I'm going to get you.
No, honestly, it might just be coming up right now. At this stage, you you just promote this Pokemon.
Yeah,
it's
that's
got
true.
enough hit points to withstand the Cramorant, and you want to protect that Comfey, and I mean, I guess it kind of works with the Radiant Greninja as well.
Yeah, they're both pretty beefy Pokemon here. Radiant Greninja going to be promoted into the active off of that escape rope. Not much else in the hands.
It honestly might just be a read that your opponent's going to get to 4 cards in the lost zone with escape rope. So you promote the Radiant Greninja. If they do it without the rope, then cool. But if they do, then you just promote the Kyogre.
Yep, that is true. That's true, Kyle. All right, we're over here on Azul's side of the field now. Drew for turn already. Of course, Azul is going second here, so can play a supporter. Already does have that Colress's Experiment in hand and a Battle VIP pass to start off this first turn. Going to go with that Nest Ball first here, though.
Yep.
Of course, looking through the deck as well.
Yeah, this is the dream hand, as we see the Nest Ball, but also the Battle VIP pass, the Colress Experiment, starting with the Comfey as well. So it's easily going to lead to a really solid opener. Likely could use that Cramorant on the opening turn and deal some pretty solid damage. And that's exactly what you're looking for at this stage. Not going to get the knockout because your opponent played around that by setting out these high hit point Pokemon, but that damage usually sticks around, and it's gonna pay dividends later on.
Yep, absolutely. Comfey is going to be what's coming out, at least off of this Nest Ball. Well, it looks like debating, but we know there's also a Battle VIP pass as well. But also just checking through these resources here. You know, we saw Caleb take the first prize card in the last game, and I think it's pretty important in this matchup who's getting to those prize cards first. Of course, you know, in lieu of the couple 2 prize Pokemon that we have, it's primarily a 1 prize Pokemon game back and forth here. So luckily, Azul does have that Radiant Greninja this time around. Yeah,
he's going to take a peek, and he saw a lot of good cards in his deck. That means he's going to have a lot of answers. He's going to likely be dealing enough damage to consider himself ahead in this opener because he's the player going second as he chose that going on into this situation. And as long as he doesn't have to make too many difficult decisions here, this is going to be ideal.
Absolutely. You want to get as many cards as you can into this lost zone, but 4 will unlock that Cramorant here. Energy Recycler and that Nest Ball is a way to start here. So dual Energy Recycler in these lost zones for these players.
Yeah, this is always interesting. You see the Nest Ball, but you also see the Battle VIP pass.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to fill the bench in this situation? It doesn't exactly feel great. So it's basically the same card. And
that's true.
Azul's going to show us the same thing there.
Just a little mana fee, protect the bench here, keep a space open. Super important there for sure. I mean, these players know what they're doing. Not only
he just gets greedy and throws down a 5th card. Like, oh, take this. It's not going to work out.
No, definitely not. So we have our first flower selecting here from Azul. Let's see what it is. What is this choice? A Comfey and was it an escape rope?
Yeah, not sure if it was the rope or the recycler.
They look so similar.
Cool and pink, but
could have been switch card, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of those items.
All right, we have this next flower selecting. It's going to be that, I think it was the, Forest?
Yeah, Forest Steelstone.
Forest Steelstone. I was wanting to call it a tablet, and I'm like, wait.
That's
I mean, I guess it is a tablet in a way, but Forest Steelstone here and that Mirage Gate.
Oh, we know Azul hates Mirage Gate.
Yeah, we saw 3 in the Lost Zone in the last game, and we're going to see that first one hit in the Lost Zone here into a concealed cards. Luckily, no Lost Zone discards, or I guess No, we're at 4, so we're cruising here.
Yep.
So just keeping those 2 in the hand here for Azul.
Yep, get to apply some solid pressure, didn't lose too many valuable resources, and the pressure's on at this stage. Caleb not only is going to have to try to get to 4 cards in the loss of their own to deal some damage, take a knockout, but you're also going to have to do that with this awkward Pokemon in the active spot. It means you're going to start to use your switching cards that on Pokemon that don't immediately get you cards in the loss zone.
Yeah, definitely a bit awkward here. All right, so we're going to see that concealed cards being used to draw additional 2 cards. Colress's Experiment in the hand here, so a lot of energy.
Not only seeing 2 lightning energy, but as well as the water and the Clara, which is
very important resources.
Really difficult decision. Just having to map out from this stage is the kind of turn that you're going to look back on turn 5 and go, oh, well,
should have kept this.
I really wish I had that energy, or I really wish I had that Clara here. But you're going to go down 2, and that is tough.
Yeah, that is tough indeed, having to track the future decisions, and a lot relies on those energies. And now we have 2 in the loss zone here for Caleb Gedemer, both a water and a lightning energy. All right, we're going to see that switch card. That Kyogre that took the 110 damage is now being healed just a little bit there from that switch card.
See the impact of how important that Nest Ball is. Not only are you looking to find that Cramorant so that you can take the knockout, but you'd also like to place the Manaphy down for yourself to avoid Azul getting a really big turn with a Radiant Greninja of his own.
Yep, absolutely. Mirage Gate is going to make 4 into the loss zone now for Caleb Gedemer. Still a huge hand here. So many switching cards there. Going to be this Nest Ball being used for Caleb.
I suppose we should mention that Pokestop has not been used.
That is true. It is in play currently.
That is a choice.
That is a choice that sometimes does not pan out too well. But I don't know. Every time we've seen Caleb use it so far, it has heavily benefited him.
It could be a Nest Ball. It could also be 2 Colress Experiments.
That's true. Could be a draw 3 or discard 3. Who knows? You just got to wait and see. You got to take a chance and get to rolling. But we'll see if that ends up being used here from Caleb.
No, either way, has the knockout lined up with the Cramorant. Now it's just a game of if you could even risk trying to reach for that Manaphy, or if you just have to accept that Azul's probably going to have a pretty good turn.
That is true. All right, looking where to attach this energy for the turn. Going to be on the Comfey to retreat it out into this Cramorant. Of course, that is unlocked with that Lost Provisions ability to take the knockout here on the other Cramorant. They hit for 110. They spit on each other, and they knock each other out. So there we go. 1 Cramorant down. Cramorant on Cramorant crime here.
Yeah, it's disrespectful.
They're spitting on each other out here. All right, we see this flower selecting here for this Comfey. On Azul's side, is it another tough decision, Kyle?
Yeah,
What's
the
going
Psychic
on?
Energy and the Echoing Horn. We know that Echoing Horn can be a really great way to close out and surprise your opponents, but maybe you're not going to surprise Caleb. So let's just go ahead and get some good cards. And sure enough, finds Colress Experiment and a Sableye.
Sheesh. Colress's Experiment. Hopefully not another difficult decision here for Azul GG, but we'll see. Oh my gosh.
It's a lot of valuable pieces.
Oh, this is
I think there's
suffering.
4 cards you like there. Well, I get Dragonite 2 potentially. We've seen that worked into the mix. Can I replace that with this silly Raikou in my hand?
I know, right? Just wanting to throw that away, but that's not the option at hand here. 2 of these cards have to go into the loss zone. So what Azul is thinking right now is navigating through these future turns. It's going to be that Lightning Energy as the first card, just debating on the second now.
I have to assess you a warning for pace of play. I'll give it a 1-minute extension.
Looks like we're dealing with a pace of play warning.
Pace of play warning with a 1-minute extension here. We'll see if that's reflected on our time. I'm sure it will be. It's going to be 7 now in the loss zone here for Azul.
And I think the only piece missing here is what, water energy. So yeah, we're going to see the Raikou V come down, likely with the Forest Seal Stone to close this up. But maybe you can avoid that by going for the flower selecting first.
Yeah,
and trying to
see
get
what
lucky.
you get. Exactly. Try to get lucky. Indeed, sometimes that's what you need in Pokemon TCG. Caleb Gedemer going to put up this Kyogre, looks like, debating it off that escape rope. Azul going to put up that concealed cards.
He's okay with it.
Ninja. Whoa, Raiko coming down. There's the Forest Seal Stone attached to that V Pokemon. That means we have a V Star power now. That's Star Alchemy, allowing Azul to search out any card. And of course, looking for that water energy. Going to be taken straight out of the deck here for Azul.
Yeah, this just shows how Capacious Bucket was broken. We
I know,
got
right?
V-Stars for single energies. Look at this.
Yes, our one V-Star for the game being used on an energy here. All right, Radiant Greninja being attached to, through this Mirage Gate, two separate types of energy being attached here.
This is an interesting decision as well. You can target down just the Radiant Greninja and the Cramorant, not take any knockouts. Or you could target down that Comfey because your opponent only has 4 cards in the Lost Zone. And we're going to get a look into the mind of Azul here. And he says, I don't like that you could potentially get more cards in the Lost Zone. That needs to go away.
Yep, that Comfey wiped off the field here now. There's no blue dude protecting the bench over there on Caleb's side. No Manaphy out.
There's a lot of other blue dudes. they're just lazy.
They're not protecting anything over here. They're out for themselves. But that's going to be a prize card here for Azul, tying things up as far as prize cards go between these players. And then, of course, you have to discard those energy off of the Radiant Greninja as well, into the discard pile. Over here on Caleb's side of the field now, starting off with the Colress's Experiment, having to debate now what to take to the hand here and what to send to the Lost Zone. Some difficult decisions again. I think I saw the Clara, there was a Mirage Gate in there, Echoing Horn, and a Nest Ball. It's going to be an Echoing Horn and a Mirage Gate going into the Lost Zone here.
Yeah, it makes sense. We see that the Comfey was found along with the Nest Ball, so we'll have the reach to go for whatever Mirage Gate Pokemon you want at that stage, or you can try to rework something else at this stage. But yeah, you're going to have to just continue to build up and get these cards in the Lost Zone. Try to work towards the Sableye for the following turn, and work on this issue right now that you have, which is that you have a lot of damage on your side, and Azul does not.
Yep, yeah, the damage counters have been stacking up for Caleb, unfortunately. A little bit being healed at a time with these switch cards, but they can only do so much, unfortunately. We're now stacking up the Lost Zone here, up to 7 now in the Lost Zone. So Mirage Gate is online at this point. Comfey using that flower selecting already.
Yeah, with the Nest Ball, you have that Comfey that can lead to 8. Then you have the Mirage Gate, or excuse me, the Vacuum along with the Pokestop that could lead to 10. We could see the Sableye this turn.
Ooh, Sableye could come out and hopefully get some of Caleb's damage counters onto the field here. We'll see where this turn goes, starting off with the Nest Ball here for the Comfey.
Yeah, you can see the debate right now. You really value the Manaphy. You want to avoid giving up those prize cards, but you can think about your own strategy and go for the Comfey. And yeah, it says, I got to play a little bit of defense.
Going to protect the bench here. The Manaphy is out, doing some work now here for Caleb Gedemer. Protecting all these Pokemon on the bench from that tough Radiant Greninja that just took a knock already. All right, here we go. Energy Recycler going to shuffle back 4 energy into the deck here. Raiko V of Caleb's coming down as well into an escape rope here.
Yeah, tough call here. I'm probably going to lose a Pokemon at this stage. You can't really bring up the Raiko V of your own, as you could easily see a Mirage Gate and run into a 2-prize issue at some point. So it's going to just be the Comfey promoted here, and Cramorant's going to have an easy knockout to lead into another prize.
Yup, that Cramorant's weak. It's been damaged, but it's still hitting here and can easily knock out to that Comfey that was just promoted into the active position. Raiko V going to get that water energy and lightning energy off the first Mirage Gate, hopping into a second Mirage Gate onto that Radiant Greninja as well. So multiple attackers here being set up onto the field.
Yeah, a ton of threats, but this is also just a nod to the fact that you're trying to make sure that you have guaranteed 10 cards in the Lost Zone next turn, thin out as much as possible, and then all those resources should be available for you off the top of your deck, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. All right, here we go. Lost Vacuum coming into play here to discard a card, and then your own Stadium, that Pokestop, into the Lost Zone here. And that is going to be the prize card for Caleb Gedemer. that spit innocently, spitting on a Comfey and getting it out of play here into the discard pile. Over onto Azul's side of the field now. Azul's own energy recycler just going to recycle back 2 psychic energy into the deck.
Yep, we've seen this from Azul before, just trying to focus on the Sableyes in this instance. You already see all the damage that's been built up at this stage. And
finish them off.
Finally, there's a situation where the bench is clogged. No other Pokemon are coming down. There's no more surprises, so you can start to dictate when you take prize cards and how Caleb plays the rest of this game.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a control back here. We're going to have this Colress's Experiment, Energy Recycler, and a Pokestop going into the Lost Zone here for Azul. 9 cards now in the Lost Zone, but that's going to be 10 off of this flower selecting. Looks like a Water Energy and the Kyogre. Kyogre going into the Lost Zone here for Azul.
Yeah, that's big information.
Never coming back.
We don't have to worry about that.
True.
And it is Sableye time. Escape Rope's going to come down. Multiple Psychic Energies in the hand, and that is, of course, the 10th card in the Lost Zone. Big decision here for Caleb.
Big decision indeed. Looks like it's going to be the Comfey coming up into the active. Sableye, of course, coming into the active for Azul. GG, that's Psychic Energy. And let's get into this Lost Mine here now for Azul. 12 damage counters being able to be placed onto this field. It's going to be 6 on that Manaphy and 6 on that Comfey. Now it's just a race to the prize cards, Kyle.
Yeah, at this stage, you can kind of see how it's lining up. If you can place enough damage counters onto Pokemon, maybe like that Radiant Greninja or the Raikou V, you can try to space out all 5 prize cards in one turn. And it's going to be up to Caleb and the Switch cards to try to help out and avoid that
Sounds like a band. Caleb and the Switch cards. Let's go.
I do not want to go see that band.
Here we go. We have an escape rope here for Caleb. Cramorant coming up into the active position. We're now at 10 in the Lost Zone as well for Caleb. So securing that. Cram is still unlocked to take a knockout on this Comfey. And that's what we're going to see. Another Comfey hitting a discard pile here. Azul promoting that Sableye instantly already. We're going to do concealed cards here. Draw into an additional 2 cards. Looks like the Switch cards.
Yeah, right away, Azul is going to be checking the math on that. I believe 11 damage counters is enough to clear these 4 Pokemon that are damaged already, and then you'd have an additional resource. And at that point, you're trying to just take 1 more prize card, and you can start to commit resources to that Raikou V potentially, or another Sableye perhaps to try to close out from there.
Yeah, things are coming down to the wire here for both of these players. 2 more cards into the Lost Zone here from Azul, but of course we're already well past 10 now at this point, but still resources to the hand from Azul as well, off of that Colress's Experiment. Taking a look at this discard pile, we'll see these resources.
All right, show me the Switch cards.
Yeah, I think he even just asked that.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I know you know what I'm looking for.
You know exactly what this is. You want to see me and my band.
Me and my band. All right, so here we go. Azul trying to clean things up here, but of course going through this very slim deck right now.
Even
it's what, 2 cards?
Even checks the Lost Zone to see if there's a Switch card hidden in there. Yeah, there's not much going on there, but of course Azul's trying to close out this game next turn.
Absolutely. Just making sure an attachment didn't happen for the turn. I don't believe it did, though. So this manual attachment's going to go onto the Sableye on bench. Really locking things up here, and now they just have to check the math here and take some knockouts on the field.
Yeah, I don't even know if you want to take the knockouts.
You just set up the next turn.
You just set it up to clear out, and that's going to be pretty solid. The energies are placed too awkwardly. That's going to be a scoop from Caleb. We're going to game 3.
Game 3 between both of these players. Some expert level Lost Box play. Kyle, how are you keeping up with these resources? Going all right? Is your brain fried?
I'm gonna make it. Yeah, there's so much to go on to talk about in this matchup. Of course, we brought it up before. Once you get those 6 Pokemon in play, you basically are locked from that point out. And Azul understood that and was just able to place damage like crazy. I don't think we've ever seen him use a Mirage Gate for its optimal effect.
No.
He's just throwing around energies or throwing them in the Lost Zone at this stage, and that just shows the importance of Sableye.
Yeah, and I mean, that's it just shows you how powerful that card is too. All you need is one psychic energy. Oh yeah, and like 10 cards in the Lasso too.
No big deal.
Once you get there, you know, I'd hope that the energy requirement would be pretty low because you gotta work to get that Sableye out. But once it's there, you just line things up and work yourself into that checkmate, just like Azul did for us there in that game. So when things go Azul's way and he's not working uphill the whole time with awkward draws and weird prize cards, you see the power that he shows with this deck. Let's take a look at these prize cards going into our game 3 here in our top 4.
They're nearly identical. It's not too bad. Caleb going to be down one of those Colress experiments, which is a little unfortunate, but all in all, we could be in for a pretty solid game.
Wow,
as Azul gets to start things off here and throws away a Colress experiment. That's news.
Oh, that is news indeed. All right, here we go. Nest Ball coming out here to get a Pokemon for Azul.
Yeah, we see that Comfey being selected. We already saw Colress's experiment in the hand for Azul for when he moves into his second turn. Didn't know if the Nest Ball was the card that was selected there as the other option, but once again, just speaks to the importance of getting these cards into the Lost Zone very early. So at least 2 would be ideal, leads to that potential threat of the Mirage Gate along with the Radiant Greninja, and that's when Caleb has to basically go all in for that mana fee on the opening turn.
Most definitely. All right, let's take a look here at what the rest of the hand is for Azul. Of course, it's the first turn. Comfey going to come down here. That's multiple Colress in hand, actually, for Azul.
Maybe he saw double Colress off the top.
That's definitely what it had to have been.
That could have been bad, too.
I feel like that's what it had to have been.
Early decisions. And going to throw away the Psychic Energy to hold on to the Kyogre, and we're going to see the Manaphy early.
Manaphy early, indeed. We saw that in Game 1. Caleb was lacking a little bit in Game 2 to get it out and had to suffer from that early game. And Azul is just going to bring that out right away here. Caleb Gedemer opting to go second, of course, and that's going to allow you to hopefully to get to 4 first in your Lost Zone. Colress's experiment is a great way to start that out. We're looking at the 5 cards now. It's going to be 2 Mirage Gate, a Water Energy, and what was the other 2?
It's Manaphy and Colress. Colress's experiment.
Right.
You have to value those resources. It just shows what this game's about. I don't care about accelerating energies. I need cards in the Lost Zone, and I need to protect my bench.
I mean, I guess we saw how little the Mirage Gate was needed in Azul's strategy for the last game. So, yeah, 2 Mirage Gate now. Hisuian Heavy Ball in the Lost Zone here for Caleb. Luckily, we do have that Battle VIP pass now, and this is first turn. So, 2 basic Pokemon going to be able to draw out onto the bench here, which is pretty solid because I didn't think I saw any other ball cards in hand or search cards.
This is a pretty hefty hand, and there's no switching effect, no ball search at all. It's going to have to be Radiant Greninja bailout at this stage, or maybe even retreat into the Comfey to try to find one switch out. I guess there is the Pokestop as well, but oh boy.
Oh no.
I don't trust him.
Risky game in here potentially on a Pokestop. We'll see what Caleb chooses to do. The Cramorant and the Comfey are going to come out here off that Battle VIP pass though. So going to get those down onto the fields.
Just under a third of the clock remaining as we are playing into this Game 3 here. So definitely plenty of time. We should see a solid conclusion here, and pretty great starts from both these players.
Pretty great indeed. That's going to be an early Manaphy from Caleb Gedemer as well. We got the blue dudes down on the field. Both sides here. Should be a clean game. We get the energy attachment here onto that Comfey.
Oh, it's going to be the Lost Vacuum.
I was like, wait, we don't have 4 in the Lost Zone, but yeah, Lost Vacuum will do that.
Does he even use the Pokestop?
Yes,
Nope.
exactly. You just put it down and you Lost Vacuum it right away. That's going to get us to 5 now in the Lost Zone. Going to unlock that Lost Provisions on the Cramorant that spit innocently to take the first knockout here with that Cram. That's exactly where you want to be. That's why you opt to go second in this match here, so you can get to that first prize card. Azul over here now. We saw multiple Colress's in hand already. One had to go to the Lost Zone, sadly. We're going to see one played here.
Once more, Raikou finds a home there in the Lost Zone.
Easy peasy.
Big chillin'. And yeah, some solid selections there. We see the energy. It looks like the Radiant Greninja as well, and a switching effect. So plenty to go on this next turn.
Energy Recycler going to join the squad in the Lost Zone here now. Into a Nest Ball to get another Comfey out onto the field here. 5 in the Lost Zone. Cram's already on the board. We're going to have some more cram-on-cram action here?
I think so, but you'd like to see at least one more card in the Lost Zone. If you get to 6, then it's a lot easier to get to 10 on the next turn, as you usually get 2 Flower Selectings and the Colress's Experiment to help you out. And that's one big issue that Caleb had, is that he's not really threatening the Sableye on this next turn. If you went a little more aggressive, used the Pokestop, and tried to work in that final Flower Selecting, then maybe he'd have 6 there and he could get the ball rolling in that instance.
Yeah, absolutely, but just opting for the safer side of things, I suppose. We're going to see the concealed cards off this Radiant Greninja, drawing into a quick 2, both energy cards here for Azul. It's going to be that hard retreat into another Flower Selecting. That's going to make 6 for us, Kyle, but it has to be that Echoing Horn as the 6th card, joining us in the Lost Zone into an Escape Rope here now.
Yeah, and going to lose one of those pieces to potentially build up the Lost Zone there in that Comfey. It's pretty solid, and you don't mind just losing to potentially that following Cramorant of your opponents. You already got your prize card, and hopefully you slow them down a little bit.
Yep, that very well could be the reality depending on what happens in this turn here for Caleb, working with the Colress's Experiment to start off the turn. Finds another Colress's Experiment. Easy Battle VIP pass into the Lost Zone. Going to be joined by an Escape Rope as well.
Yeah, should already have information that a Colress's Experiment is in the prize cards, so going to be valuing those very highly. And with one final Comfey there, going to get to 8, so we should see Sableye on the following turn. And the game plan is pretty simple there. You've got the Cramorant ready to go, but just hasn't really developed much.
Absolutely. Not much, but I mean, I feel like we go from just development throughout this, and then it just starts exploding in these last couple of turns that happen throughout these games.
Right. Well,
damage just starts flying.
There's some intricacies as well that are happening here. You see Azul using Escape Ropes as opposed to Caleb, who likely has to use Switch Carts to keep up, or has to continually throw away energies. And that means that he's not going to have those resources later on when we get into the Sableye War.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen how important that small healing can be for both of these players with the Switch cards. So having to burn those for no utility of the heal is a bit awkward for sure. But that is just sometimes the materials you have to work with in these decks. Comfey going to come out onto the field from that Nest Ball here for Caleb. See what other resources have to be burned up for this turn to establish more of this board.
Yeah, to get to the 10th card in the Lost Zone, you'd have to overcommit again and fill the board, and it's not where you want to be at all.
Yeah, you want options here for sure. Switch card going to be used. This will be our 9th card into the Lost Zone.
Similar decision that Azul had to face there, and
look at that.
I don't need that.
Yep, Kyogre going to go to the Lost Zone here now. Going to get us to 9 at our count here for Caleb Gedemer. Little drink of water here for that Comfey, Kyle.
Well deserved. Yeah, it should just be a pretty clear-cut knockout there for the Cramorant. You just start to wonder about how you can piece together the rest of the prize cards. So totally reasonable for Caleb to take his time and try to figure out what the rest of this game is going to look like.
All right, it's going to be.
I thought you said
I was like,
whoa.
I didn't see a rope, but
Hang on.
we're good. Radiant Greninja's beefy, but yeah, it's gonna be just that shoving up the Cramorant into Azul's Cramorant. That's gonna be a knock here. There was no rope there. Thankfully, that would have been rough. Okay, so here we go, on to Azul's side of the field now. 2 prize cards down on Caleb's side, so we have 4 left to take. Azul starting off with the Colress's Experiment here.
Yeah, this is what dreams are made of right now. You're going to throw away 2 pretty useless cards.
Yeah.
You have that Comfey in the active spot. It's probably going to be pretty easy to move that Pokemon around. And we'll see the 10 cards reach the Lost Zone on this turn, which means that Azul can start to decide how he wants to play about this. Does he worry about potentially knocking out the Manaphy? Can he threaten with the Radiant Greninja as he sees that Caleb's been off to a little bit of a struggle start here, and you could force your opponent to think about Clara instead of Colress's Experiment or something like that.
True. That is very true. Yeah, starting to back up Caleb into awkward corners for sure. Being the first to 10, being first to that Sableye, it's going to be weird. Are you ready to do some more math here, Kyle?
Well, it gets weird in like 2 or 3 turns. The opening turns are okay.
Then you know what 12 damage counters look like. I would hope.
I've seen it once or twice.
All right, so
Once
here we
again,
go.
Finds another switch card to add to the hand and just gets to continue to use the escape ropes, which is so clutch here for Azul.
Ooh, Kyle, I got news that Henry Brand won 2-0.
Oh, man.
2-0. That means whoever wins this will be facing off against a Gardevoir piloted by Henry Brand in our finals. That's exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be something to look out for, as we've talked a lot about that matchup, the Lost Zone Kyogre up against the Gardevoir, and we're going to have 2 great players that could potentially be facing off against him.
Yeah, that's going to be wild. All right, let's jump back into this game, though. We have the escape rope here. Caleb promoting that Comfey, and the Sableye coming up here, ready to start mining on the single prize Pokemon on Caleb's side of the field.
I'm just waiting for the Hawlucha out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh.
Off the top rope.
They're like, surprise, it wasn't an exact 60 mirror.
I hid this from you for a day and a half.
Just for this point. Yo, that'd be wild. All right, here we go.
Yep.
We're going to see, of course, like we saw in our last game, that Manaphy wiped off the field here. 5 damage counters being placed onto the benched Comfey.
Yeah, this is the consideration that I was talking about, because
Yeah.
you love to place all the damage counters and eventually set up those big knockouts, but also if you just force Caleb to have an answer right here, use the Clara to go for the Manaphy, and it's getting a lot less value, it's not grabbing a Pokemon like that Sableye or something, then that's going to be pretty solid.
Yep, that's exactly what it's looking like is panning out here, Kyle. We are now at 10 in the loss zone for Caleb Gedemer.
All right, well, maybe this is a Pokestop turn. You can discard something cool and then bring it back with Clara, or you can find some solid resources.
Yeah, not bad at all. Just the Psychic Energy going into the discard pile off that Pokestop. Echoing Horn going into the hand. Just laying out the discard pile here to see what resources have already been used so far. How many energy are in there? Looks like 3, 2 water, and a Psychic. What else do we have here?
We have 10 cards in the loss zone, so we have Sableye. At this point, I guess your only consideration is, do you try to dig deeper and look for a Psychic Energy with the Colress's Experiment, or you just use the Clara? I feel like you just have to go with the consistent route. We've seen that from Caleb, just playing it safe, wants to make sure that he's got all the answers ready to go, and he's going to have that lined up now. Could take the knockout on this Sableye. You can't really play games when you're up against 12 damage counters, so remove that, and maybe you can avoid having problems in 2 or 3 turns.
We're not playing games around here, Kyle? I thought this was Pokemon TCG. What do you mean?
I'm done with the games.
All right, so this is looking like an exact 60 mirror here. Sableye versus Sableye now, both fully equipped for some mining. Some 12 damage counters going on to Azul's side of the field in just a moment here. So we'll see where Caleb chooses to place those. What do you think about that, Kyle? Where are they going to go?
Yeah, if the hand is equipped to threaten with a Radiant Greninja, then you can, of course, take out the Manaphy. If not, you just deal with the problem at hand, which is the Sableye here. So we'll see how Caleb feels about this. He's got a lot of cards in hand.
Yeah, there's a ton of cards in hand, indeed, for Caleb. Actually, for both of our players, really.
Yeah, looks like it's not going to be enough. So instead, going to go ahead and knock out the Sableye and spread the damage as low as possible, because he knows Azul's holding on to those switch cards. Wants to make sure they never get full 30 heal.
Yep, trying to get as much utility as possible out of where you're spreading these damage counters so they actually stick on the board. Azul is over here on this turn now, we're going to start with the concealed cards to draw into an additional 2 cards, that Dragonite and an Escape Rope being added into the hand. We see already multiple switch cards in the hand as well. Azul's own Clara, that's going to heal that 20 damage that was on the Manaphy straight off there into a flower selecting. Oh, was that double switch card?
I think it was.
No way.
I mean, it's not exactly what you want to see, but
At least you have more.
yeah, we'll see how Azul feels about switch cards for potentially 10. It is one way to avoid seeing the double knockout from the Sableye at some stage. You could use them both now and heal off these Comfeys completely, but that doesn't feel great.
No, it does not. Clara is going to get back the Sableye.
Oh yeah, it's
and
time.
a Cram into Psychic Energy, and then we're just going to see some more Sableye action here.
Yeah, this is cool. It's, we see that when you take off that 10 additional damage, you're not exactly worried about the Sableye being knocked out in combination with the Comfeys, so the damage doesn't matter as much. And Azul might have the resources to start to go wild. He's going to knock out the Manaphy.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to lock in this damage once he decides where he wants to put everything else. That's going to be 2 knocks here on both of these Pokemon. Going to go down to only 2 prize cards left to take. Hopefully wrap things up relatively quickly. With these future turns, 3 are going to go down onto that Comfey. And it's coming down here to the wire, Kyle, in this Game 3 of our Masters Top 4.
Yeah, Azul demanding answers, says, I need to see Clara from you right now. It is in the hand for Caleb, so he can bring that right back down, but is also going to need to see some heal on that Comfey potentially to avoid a Sableye just clearing the board.
Yep, we do have the switch card in the hand here for Caleb. As you said, Clara's there as well. So just looking through the resources, making sure nothing is going wrong here. It's all down to this, Kyle. If you make even one small mistake, things can go very poorly for you very fast. Ooh, it's going to be the Pokestop.
It's Pokestop time.
Yo, let's give it a roll. Mirage Gate to the hand, Battle VIP pass to the hand, and a Psychic Energy being discarded off that Pokestop.
Plenty of cards in the hand to try to make something happen here. Probably have to work in something in combination with the Manaphy at this stage if you want to try to lock in the knockouts. I don't think that Sableye math gets you there the whole way, and going to try to value this Pokemon here, even getting the energy on there to maybe even retreat it later on.
Yeah, this is the Mirage Gate currently, so just attaching an energy here to that active Sableye. Of course, not required, but as you said, for future retreat from the Sableye, we're going to have that basic energy as well onto the Comfey on the bench from the Mirage Gate.
Yep, you can go ahead and manually retreat this Pokemon. You're going to be using the switch card on this Comfey to heal off. Easiest decision of your life there, holding on to the Mirage Gate. And
easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Yep, we already know the switch card is in hand as well for Caleb. At this point, it's down to us just putting together the pieces, just as these players are as well. The Clara is going to come down, bringing back the Manaphy and a Comfey, and a Water and a Psychic Energy into the hand for Caleb. That's what we needed to see.
Yeah, Manaphy is going to guarantee protection right now to not see 2 prize cards taken. On Azul's turn, if you have this Pokemon healed up fully, we're going to see that right now there with the switch card. This means that the Sableye can be promoted, and then you can probably set up enough math to where you can use the second Sableye to close out. If I'm not mistaken, just depends on the switch card count and the fact that I think we've seen all 4 at this stage, honestly.
They're both just...
No, it's 3 and there's one last one. Yeah, he held on to the other one with the 10 damage there. So 1 more in hand. All right, I'm going to go to math camp in my head.
I was about to say, Kyle, what needs to happen here now? Good luck with this, Kyle.
I think it's exactly there. So even through the 30 heal of a switch card, you'll be able to clear out, including a Sableye, or you actually have 10 remaining on the Manaphy if you're able to target down Comfey and Manaphy for the 3 prize cards.
My gosh, this feels more difficult than chess, honestly, right now.
Well, the problem is that there's 5 kings on board, so you
yes, that's true.
You never really you're checking them the whole game.
Yeah, absolutely. I expect nothing less from these players, that is for sure.
I'm not sure if the Sableye is guaranteed right now for Caleb. I haven't seen it just yet in the hands, but either way, I think you can just target down the Comfeys and the Manaphies, unless there's just a world where you feel more comfortable with the prize cards themselves to help out.
Yeah, it looks like it's just trying to decide where to put these damage counters now off of this Lost Mine. 3 prize cards left to take, of course. Otherwise, we'd be chilling right now.
All right, just gonna try to set up in a fashion where Lost Mine will be able to knock out 2 Pokemon next turn. There's no way that he can bring back these switch cards. So the fact that you have the damage placed where either Comfey and Manaphy are knocked out, double Sableye's knocked out, any which fashion you're going to be able to close out there. And you also get that prize card in hand.
Yup, prize card in hands. That's going to be tying it up as far as prize cards go for both of these players. Down to only 2 prize cards left. Just a little over 6 minutes left on the clock. We have grinded things down here in this Masters Top 4. Let's see what Azul can do with this turn. Mirage Gate going to be played just to fail it.
Yeah, not much left there. I think you can target down the Sableye and, and then hope that you don't see the other one at this situation. Going to remove the most damage possible there. 2 on the Sableye. And here comes
fresh
the second one.
Not so fresh Sableye, I suppose. The damaged Sableye.
All right. Going to demand the answers right now from Caleb to close out.
Yep, it has come down to this. It is up to Caleb Gedemer to close this game out. Otherwise, Azul will. This is not what I expected, or maybe it was.
57 cards in hand, none of them named Sableye, I think. So we're going to have to go searching. There is the Colress Experiment in the hand. Plenty of ways to thin out. We're even going to see the Mirage Gate, it looks like, to take a look. And no, just go ahead and use the Colress Experiment here.
Wow, there you go. Colress's Experiment.
Finds the Forest Sealstone, but there's no Pokemon to attach it to. Hasn't used a V-Star for the turn, but either way, you're just going to be looking for a Pokemon to help out. Maybe you can hold on to one of those if you still have that resource available, but still has a lot of switching cards too, so additional Comfeys could be more cards.
Yep, those are the 2 that are going to be chosen to go into the Lost Zone here. All those switching effects into the hand.
6 or 7 cards left in the deck. Multiple Comfey. This was almost guaranteed at this stage. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and see. Looks like the Nest Ball or the Dragonite there. Can just use the Nest Ball to search out that Sableye there. And I believe the energies are ready to go. We just need to find that Psychic. And there it is. Caleb Gedemer going to be closing things out here in a clutch Game 3 against Azul GG.
Wow, yep, that was absolutely grindy there the entire time. But Caleb Gedemer is going to take it home for the team. Of course, Azul being one of